Hello everyone, Strikoder here and welcome back to a new episode of the OSCP journey. Today's episode is gonna be another VARLab machine. It's called Data, which is a Linux easy machine. In this machine, we're gonna expose a Grafana. We're gonna see the exploit that we're gonna use, and then we're gonna escalate our privileges through Docker exploitation. We're gonna check that as well. So let's just get started. Let me copy the IP, run rust scan. So I prefer rust scan, so I would just get the output as fast as possible. Here we give everything to nmap. We pass everything to nmap. Let me just check the open ports. And here I'm gonna open up the browser. If it's gonna be opened anytime. Okay. Let us check immediately. Colon HTTP. Still nothing. Actually, I'm not connected to HackTheBox. Let me then take HackTheBox over here, then rust scan again, but instead I'm gonna change the IB to my IB. So we have SSH with 3000. Let me check. Right here, 3000 with HTTP. Oops, that was not correct. Okay, so I see login and it's Grafana. Let's wait and see. Can we check SQL injection? I don't think so. There is invalid username or password. There is not, I believe, such a thing in Grafana. So we check the version v8.0.0. And here we see a GitHub Grafana path traversal. It tries to reach public plugins alert list. Here we see analyst, bar gauge or whatsoever dish list. So it tries to reach the IP, then public plugins, and the name of the plugin. Here we see an exploit DB link. Let's try and see. So it's a Python code, headers, user agents. So we can do that through our lovely Burp Suite, and here we can see it checks public plugins and the same thing choice plugin list. It chooses one of them. Let's try with alert list and file to read. So let's try that. So we can curl that actually, and we can say path as is. Why we are saying that, you will see in a moment. HTTP, the IP address, then 3000. Then we're gonna define public plugins, and what was the name? Oops, not here. Alert list. Let me get that and get the IP again in my. I'll put that here. So alert list. Let's get back to here and let's say, let me check the code again. So let's just try that. Okay, now we have two stuff over here. And let's try etc password. Then, so we had path as is because we had path traversal. So in order for code to work properly, then I would close up my single code. So here we read our etc password. we see a user called Grafana. However, there is no login, no login, no login. Okay, but we have SSH, so we should get a shell somehow for anyone over here, but it doesn't seem the case. Maybe that is just a virtual environment or a Docker or whatsoever. So let's just enumerate further. So what can we do as well? So let me check. Oops, not here. Let me check. I believe over my note. Let me get my notes up. So here, if I wrote a Grafana, by the way, I've had my notes published publicly. You can get that link in the description. So here we can see the Grafana CVE. So here is it. The notes from version 8.0 till version 8.3. We can try then to download the database. Let me just copy that and get my notes back there again. Okay, let me try and curl that. Instead of data.vl, which was the main box when it was implemented with I don't think it has the same thing. I'm not sure. Let me check. I don't think so, because when it was implemented with OneLab, I'm not sure. Yeah, but however, we can define that as well in the Etsy hosts. Let me get my IB. Oops, not that. So the IB is here. Let me copy that into here. And I'm gonna have the grafana.db. Let me check. So getty.db, grafana.db, I would say SQLite instead of getty, it's gonna be grafana. We gonna see dot tables. Why do I have this here? I don't need you. Oops. I need. Okay, so I had my machine full screen mode again. So let's get back to work. We have user auth, user auth token, team. Maybe we're gonna be interested only with user for now. Select star from user. So here we see stuff, but we are not sure what is that. There are two ways to be sure and to get more information about that, either by schema. So you're gonna search for the user schema, or more simpler, a simpler way, more simpler, is gonna be googling Grafana DB database, maybe Grafana to Hashcat. I believe there is a link. Yep. So you provide, I believe, so here you provide the salt and the hash. So the hash and the salt, and it's gonna give you the SHA-256. Let's try that. User select again, all from user. And I believe admin at localhost is not appropriate for us for now. Let me take this and exit. Quit maybe, or Control D. Yep, Control D. So let me go into hashes. That was from the last time. Let me paste this and delete those. I believe we don't need everything before that. And maybe this is the hash and this is the salt, and then I'm gonna delete everything else. Well, I mean, okay, and I'm gonna quit. Let me get clone. So are there too many files? Not only one. So let me copy that. I mean, you can press copy whatsoever. And let me get back into here. Instead of get cloning, I'm gonna make them, let's say, graph.py. I'm gonna paste that, exit, then Python 3 graph.py, and then I'm gonna provide the hashes.txt. Is that correct? Yeah, probably. So I had list out of range. That's strange. Maybe let's try with dash o if I printed new hashes. I still have the same issue. Converting hashes, traceback, root graph, dot append, convert hash, grafana hash, list index out of range. Let me cut that. Let me check again. So I would say ls cat hashes. Let me them into that. Okay, I have a space here. Maybe that was the issue. Let me check again. Okay, now we're rocking. Okay, why did I deleted that? Let me copy this command. So it's SHA-256. Our word list is gonna be user share word list rockU, and the file is gonna be new hash. Okay, let me check the new hash. Maybe the command here is not right. Let me check. Hashcat 256. 100. Okay, I don't think so. So, nope. So 1410, maybe. Separator unmatched. Okay, 256. So I'm looking into here. Still no. Okay. I believe last time it was not 1410, maybe 1400. Still not correct. Let me cat that again. Mm-hmm. Is maybe my hashcat command not correct? So, okay, yep. So I'm providing the hashcat hashes. It's gonna be new hashes, right? Yep, new hash. And instead of 4100 is gonna be the same number as above that we got prompted. 10900. Okay, so the password is beautiful one, and our username was, I believe, Boris, right? Maybe. Let me check. At and the IB again. Yes. Beautiful one. Okay, now we have a shell. Okay, that's great. Cat user to text. This is our flag. However, I don't need that because, as you see, we have found the room, the machine, more precisely. Now let's run sudo l as usual, the first one we're gonna run before even like importing uh, any script for enumeration. So here we see snapping docker execution star. So I tried to search on the GTFO bin. I was not lucky. However, at my notes again, I had something similar. So there are mainly two methods to privilege escalate. First, we always, since we are dealing with execution, we need the ID of the container. How to grab the ID? First of all, you can run docker ps. Okay, we have no permission. Let's try sudo snap bin docker. It's not gonna work because we have only for execution. So the password is beautiful. Nope, we are not allowed. So how can we grab the ID? There are other way to see the containers that you have inside var snap docker common, and then we have var lib docker, and inside that you're gonna see the containers, but we have no permissions as well. So the last way is gonna be using ps aux, and we're gonna search for containered containered shim. Okay, that's strange. Let me run ps aux and let me try again. Okay, now it's working. So I had a typo, and over here we see the ID. Okay, that's great. So either you can run this command. So this is the main command we are executing. So, oops, I need to, this is the casual command. You say docker execute, and then you provide the flags IT, which uh, refers to interactive terminal as user root, then container ID, and then you provide that you need to run bin bash. However, in our case, we provide sudo bin docker execute and the same flags as provided before. Let me exit that. In case you couldn't enumerate the container ID, you can just try to say, for instance, what container host name would be. Let's say root. Nope, that was not correct. Let's say Boris. That was not correct as well. Let's try to print Etsy password if we have. So here we see other Etsy password than the main one that we enumerated when we started the video, because one refers to the host and the other refers to the container. So that one was referring to the container. This is the one that referring to the host machine. So we see Laurel maybe. It's an underscore, so probably not. Nope, there is no such container. Probably it won't be www data. So we had once we enumerated the web, we had Grafana. Let's try Grafana, and voila, we had access again. So either you provide the host name or the container ID. In our case, you can provide both. So let's get back to the method, to the first method of privilege escalation. So, oops. So for now, I was just copying the commands because they are a little bit long. So here, the first method is gonna be, we need to access the mount that we have. Let's exit here. Let's try mount, and we see all these mounts that we have on our host machine. So we need to access the SDA1. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say, first of all, run this command, which is the same stuff, and we are making a directory called empty host. I'm gonna call that mnt root, for instance. Then I'm gonna say over here, instead of root, this is just gonna root, and in here we're gonna mount the SDA1 into the root, and then we're gonna sign in, not sign in, like go to our privileged Docker, and within here I'm gonna expose or enumerate mnt root. Then you're gonna see the root.txt. This is the first method. Let me exit. The second method is gonna be, let me check. So first of all, we try to get the container ID as we did before. Second thing is we're gonna sign in. So the second method is actually from Hack Smarter channel. Try to check that on YouTube as well. I'm gonna connect again from here to Boris at, let me copy the IB. And then in here, I'm gonna say beautiful one, because we need an access to the host machine and to the Docker instance. Then once we have the ID and once we have the access to both, now we need to make the host name, our host name, award writable. So we change our modificate or change our modification and privileges and the access to the Etsy host name, and we can check that through our SSH main machine if we can access that, and then we try to through our main machine we try to put the cat the output of beambash into the hostname file. Then we get back to our container and change the owner to root. Then we can run this command, which refers to change mode. S plus U is the same thing. Then the last thing you need to run is this command, which give you a shell access with dash b, is the same as running bin bash dash b, and you get access as, wait, what? We still not root? Okay, I've done something wrong. Let me try. No, we are root, but however, I don't know. We have access to root files, but however, we are still Boris. If we want to get the ID of root, we can inject public SSH and connect to the machine again. So you can just take the flag and oops, and paste that into the machine, and you will get that. So I was the first because I had a script to enumerate and to pound the machine immediately. However, it's not an active machine. It was already, I would say, retired machine because it came from one lab, so it doesn't count as a first blood. But that's it. See you guys next time, and good luck.